Awesome. Looks like some people are already hopping in to join us. Happy Thursday, everyone. We're getting good today. This is great. Awesome. Everyone's stoked and here for you, Butler.
No, it's a lot of people. I'm starting to get nervous.
This is awesome. We'll give everyone a couple more seconds to hop on. Great. Looks like we're getting pretty full. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hello and welcome everyone to Office Hours. Here at Office Hours, we're here to share ambition best practices, industry trends, and answer any of your questions about ambition. Office Hours is open to anyone interested in learning more about coaching, gamification, ambition, sales performance management. So if you guys enjoyed today's session, be sure to register for future sessions and also invite your peers, coworkers, people that you manage if you think they'd benefit from this time. Feel free to include them and have them join on the fun. We're going to host Office Hours the third Thursday of every month. So be on the lookout for registration links for next month's session. Today, I'm joined by our VP of Product, Butler Raines. We are so excited to have him. We'll get more into his introduction and who Butler is in a moment. My name's Emma Hamilton, and I am a Customer Success Manager here at Ambition. So for today's agenda, we are going to introduce Butler, learn a little bit more about him. He's newer to the Ambition team. We're super excited to have him. We're going to talk about what excites Butler about ambition and where he thinks ambition can go from here. We're also going to open up the floor to a Q&A at the end. So be dropping your questions for Butler in our chat and our Q&A, and I'll be keeping an eye on them. And I'll stop sharing. Butler, do you want to share the presentation?
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, Emma, thanks for having me, and thanks everyone for joining. Can y'all see my screen okay?
You can.
Okay. Well, yeah, I lose my Zoom controls. Let me get them back up so I can see everybody. Any questions? Well, really excited to be here to talk with you today at Office Hours and introduce myself and walk you through some of the reasons I joined Ambition, what excites me about the Ambition platform, and where we're headed in the future. And then, of course, at the end, we're going to do a Q&A, and please feel free to ask me any and everything on your mind. And if I can't answer it live, because I am new, I've only been here about 2 months and 2 weeks, I'll be sure to get back to you with an answer. So who am I? My name is Butler Raines. I have been formerly the VP and head of product of a company out of Atlanta called SalesLoft. I was with SalesLoft for 5 years. I started there we were just a couple million in revenue, and then recently we're able to raise $100 million at $1 billion valuation. But I just found over time that I really missed the feel of a smaller company where I could be more involved with the customers and serving the customers, and more involved with crafting the vision of the product and kind of what it's going to feel and look like. And so I was very excited when Ambition invited me to join the team, and I've had a blast since I've been here. But you may be wondering why I would make such a transition. SalesLoft's a great company to be a part of and a great category of sales engagement. And what really excited me about Ambition was two things. Well, three things, but two of them are very related. Underneath the hood of Ambition is this really amazing data processing engine. Now, that's really for something that excites me because I'm a data nerd. I cut my teeth in product management for data science teams many years ago. And so when I evaluate my opportunities in companies I go work for, I'm always looking at like what powers the platform, what is the engine, what's that technology look like? And this was bar none some of the best I'd ever seen. And so I was really excited as a technologist to join up because I'd just never seen anything done like this. But then professionally, what really excited me was this marriage of scorecards and the ability to track like meaningful metrics along with the ability to overlay coaching. Now, why do I call out meaningful metrics here? Where I came from the sales engagement world, the sales often outreach and gurus of the world, and they help you send more emails, they help you make more calls, they help hold you accountable to those types of plans. But I think we all can agree that simple activity generation is not the measure of an employee being impactful or not. And so when I saw this scorecard technology, the way you could combine metrics of activity and objectives and create like a score for the employee, I was just really blown away. And it really, really, really resonated with me. And then over my last 5 years at Sales also, I was able to grow a team of about 40 people across 3 departments. And I really gravitated towards learning how to be the best coach and manager I could possibly be. And even more so, really emphasize the importance of one-on-one check-ins. And so when I learned that Ambition also had this technology, just a light bulb went off in my head, and I felt like I just had to be a part of it. And so that's really what kind of convinced me. The founders are great too, and very kind and humble folks. And I just thought it was the right match. So I could not be more excited to be here. You know, I mentioned this idea about meaningful metrics and why the scorecard was exciting. And I think this is even more relevant in this new work from anywhere kind of mode we're in, this remote workforce. It is my belief that the best practice in managing people is to set great goals, set great measures to achieve those goals, and then hold them accountable to that. And then that allows the employee to be super creative in how they achieve those metrics, how they achieve those goals. And so, especially in a remote world, if you can set those great goals and set those right metrics, then all you really need to do is hold the employee accountable to meeting them. And it gives them a freedom to really enjoy their job, participate in the work, and participate in achieving the goals. And as far as I can tell from my reading, this is a quote from Measure What Matters. This is the crux of modern goal science, like set meaningful leading metrics that achieve the goals and then track towards those. So it was a no-brainer for me when I saw scorecarding technology. But then the fact that this is overlaid with the check-in. Okay, and so very soon we'll be able to like overlay these activity metrics, these scorecard metrics, and the fact that coaching is happening, and the contents of that coaching, and the kind of the subjective analysis of the coaching by both the coach and the employee. And we can tell you if coaching is being effective, especially towards achieving your goals. And when, like, again, it was just like a light bulb moment. I remember as I was talking to many, many companies in the space, you know, my girlfriend works here in the office next door to me, and I mean, she was engaged, but she wanted me to do what was right for me, but she doesn't really know this world. When she found out what Ambition did, when she actually took the time and went and read the website, she ran into my office. She's like, "Oh my God, this is the perfect job for you. It's truly the marriage of like your interest." And I think that is so important for a head of product, right? The head of product position it is a job, but it's not just a job. Like, you want to have a vision for the software you're creating. You want to learn from your customers and really care about how your software is serving their teams. And so I could not care more. I mean, this is just this perfect thing for me to think about and build alongside you. But that's a little bit about why I chose Ambition. Those are all things you already know about Ambition, and I'm discovering, and every day I'm discovering more and more, and I'll be in a part of the platform using it, and I'll see some really smart technology that maybe you don't even know about. And so that I'm going to make sure it's my job to get that out in the app in a way that becomes useful to you. But then I'm also thinking about where we're taking Ambition and what we want and I want Ambition to be. And I very quickly coined this phrase when I got here, is I want Ambition to create an ecosystem of accountability and encouragement for our customers. Again, especially in this remote work from anywhere kind of environment, you know, holding your employees accountable in an empathetic, smart way it cannot be more important, right? We don't want to be big brother, big sister. People fear that, but we do want to hold people accountable to the goals they set and the measures to get there. And then we also want to encourage them. We don't know yet if the world will go back to a full in-office environment. And so then how can we find other ways like our Slack integration or maybe a mobile app in the future to make sure that we are coaching, not only coaching, but encouraging our employees and pushing productivity towards the areas where we need help the most. And so if we set good goals, we create great leading KPIs, and we are observing those, then we should be able to use the gamification technology to push productivity in the areas that we need to achieve those. And so I like to talk about an ecosystem of accountability and encouragement. And this also hints to the fact that we want to be great partners with other technologies. Other platforms in your sales tech stack should play well with Ambition. And so if you have other data or other metrics that you need to pull into Ambition, you'll be able to, and be able to pull it right into a singular like coaching interface. The way I think about our platform under this umbrella of ecosystem of accountability and encouragement in these categories, accountability is more important than ever. I personally think accountability is an important part of life, that you want to set yourself up for success, and I look for my partner, I look for my friends to hold me accountable to the things that I want to go out and achieve. Ambition is set up to help hold these remote employees accountable to the plan, to the company plans and goals. Gamification, I'm sure most of you use the gamification parts of the platform. I can tell you, coming from a technology like SalesLoft, it is something I always wanted to build, but it is a platform in its own right. And this pairs well with anything you're using like SalesLoft, Outreach, Groove, because all those metrics that are generated can be pushed to Ambition, and we can look at groups and individuals and rank how they're doing against one another, or alongside one another, if you will. Coaching, if you're not using the coaching parts of our platform, I'd love for you to go give it a try. If you are, I would love to get feedback from you. This is essential. It's an essential motion for any team. I think there's plenty of opportunity to codify and automate the mundane parts of like setting an agenda and making sure your employee has the agenda and that they filled it out. And then I think the beauty of this is once you're using this and you have a good consistent cadence of coaching, then you're able to overlay that and see how well your coaching is affecting you reaching your goals. That's super exciting. And then amplification. What are the things that we can do to help recreate that culture that might have been lost as people moved out of the office? But not only amplification in that sense, but also in the sense of how can we connect the different platforms that your sales teams or your other teams are using and have them work well with Ambition? Like, how can we bring your Gong data in, or how can you launch a Zoom here at this moment, or how can you tee up this workflow to kick off in another platform? So you might work in a sales ops capacity, and how important is it to notice an event over here and have something happen over here? And Ambition's perfectly positioned to be the connector of such things, because we're not just reading one source of data coming in. We can read all sources of data. We can aggregate those, we can scorecard those, and then we can measure anomalies in that data. And from that, we can kick off other jobs. Right now, like, we could congratulate someone, but you could easily see that if a group of people were lagging behind in some measure, then we'd be able to tee up a check-in and kind of talk about what's going on, and so we can get everybody back on track. So this is what I in the product where we call product pillars, but the umbrella of ecosystem of accountability and encouragement in these 4 areas is where we're focused. So a little bit about what's coming up soon that is in flight and that we're really excited to deliver for you. We are just a few weeks away from delivering what we call lower is better. This is a different way of using your scorecard so that the lower target is actually the better outcome. This has use all over organizations. Where I've seen it most requested is for people who use Ambition in professional services or support type situations, where things like the lower the number of tickets or a decreased response time is the better outcome. And so we can then use that in our scorecard technology and our gamification. So super excited about that. Microsoft Teams. We have a very robust Slack integration. We want to bring that same functionality into Microsoft Teams. I reference Bree often. She's over there sitting on Teams all day, and I'll get excited about our software, and it doesn't work with Teams yet, but it will work with Teams very soon. So this is in flight. We will have it both working with our commands like in Slack, also with our trigger workflow system. And we're probably April-ish, towards the end of April when we release this. But probably what I'm most excited about is the second screen experience. So when I got here and I was, getting my sea legs and talking to the founders and building an even stronger relationship with our CEO, I was very clear that I wanted to plant a flag in a mobile app. We are all stuck on our phones for better or worse. And, if we want to recognize people, if we want to push productivity, if we want to encourage people, then we need to be able to surface that where people are. And so especially when people not being in an office, they're on their computers, they're on their phones. We want to be where our users are and where they need us to be. And so we're working very hard to deliver a mobile experience sometime this year. All right, that was a lot of rant by me. I am most excited about fielding your questions and having more of a conversation. I hope you found that useful, and I hope you won't hold back on any questions you have.
Yeah, so if everyone could drop any questions, feedback, anything that you want to share with Butler, feel free to drop it in the Q&A in the chat, and I'll start fielding those. We did have some questions sent in by you guys when you first registered for this session. So let me pull those up and we can go through those first while you guys are thinking of what you want to share with Butler. Just a moment. So the first question that was sent in, which is just what you had just covered, Butler, is when will you build a mobile app for the Ambition platform? Please, please, please.
Well, I'm glad to see we are aligned on that, and I appreciate all the pleases. I think it is absolutely essential, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun for our users and our customers, and I'm just over the moon excited about what we're going to do there.
Definitely. Awesome. Next question. I'm interested in how Ambition could support a badging strategy and how it could integrate with an LMS.
So a super interesting question. So in many ways, we already do. So on your individual user profile, you can actually pin badges from achievements to the top of your profile. I don't know if everybody knows that or not. And I've been thinking a lot about how we could extend that. I'm pretty good friends with the team over at an LMS called Docebo, where they have a lot of badging technology. And I've been thinking about how can we take LMS badges and bring it in. But I don't see it a far stretch to take something like the pinning of badges inside our own accolades and achievements and extending that to outside sources. One of the things that probably won't excite this group, but kind of what I'm known for in my product strategy is building open platforms. And so that's a way that I can build the platform, build the APIs to get things in and out easily. And if we begin to feel that badging is important to our customer base, then we can look at ways to source those badges and then trigger those events. And so we're building a new workflow system that should be out the first iteration in the next 3 weeks. And we can begin to be really creative with that. Like, hey, if this event happens, this accolade is won, grab this badge from this other system. So no promises, because I got to think about it a lot about how it would work, but please keep surfacing that feedback so we can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome. We just got a question in the chat, which I love this one. Are multi-metric triggers on the map at all?
So, I mean, you might have to give me some context here. If y'all will be kind, I've only been here a couple of months. So can you help me understand what this is and how it's different from what we have today?
Yeah, Michael, I know you sit in this question, so if you have additional context, feel free to add in. I guess from my experience as a CSM, I see people really be drawn to those email triggers that send out essentially a leaderboard. You can schedule that daily, weekly, monthly, but it's just tied to one metric. So I think people would be interested in seeing an email with a lot of different data points. And Michael, yeah, feel free to add some additional context. Perfect.
Yeah, so I don't want to get ahead of my skis here. It sounds like a very reasonable request. The one thing I can say, and I'll make sure I follow up with you, Michael, after I have my answer, is we are releasing a brand new, totally re-architected workflow system that is going to outpace our current trigger system. And so with this new workflow system, there will be additional flexibility and extensibility. I don't have a list of what's in the first release right here beside me, even though I was in a meeting on it just an hour ago. But let me get back to you, Michael, about how that looks in this new workflow paradigm and see if that's already been accommodated, because it may very well have been.
Awesome. Do you expect the Microsoft Teams integration to deliver much of the same functionality that we've seen in the Slack releases?
I do think it will deliver the exact same functionality.
Wonderful. I know all my Teams customers out there are super pumped for that. Let's see, this might be a similar question to one we've already asked, but is there a way to use our learning module provider content inside of Ambition?
So let me follow that question, learning module content. So basically bring the content from your, whatever we call it, learning management system or sales enablement system, whatever it might be, into Ambition. I do foresee a day that that is possible. I don't believe it's possible now. The way I'm thinking about coaching in general, and this speaks to my open platform, it speaks to my product philosophy of an ecosystem of accountability and encouragement, is that we would be able to partner with whatever system you might use. And then based on a check-in or whatever conditions of a check-in, we would be able to pull material into the check-in for you to use. Probably premature for me to speak about which systems, and we'd probably have to have partnerships or that system be willing to work with us. But if you want, I don't know who asked that, but if you want me to dive into it more, please send me an email, or Emma have facilitated email, and I'll get a crisper answer.
Definitely. Will coaching improvements be a focus this year?
It's a major focus. So I am hesitant to put a roadmap on the screen because I'm just a few months in and I want to get some degree of predictability about what's coming. But I can say assuredly that I've taken a big chunk of our engineering capacity, and basically it's called Make Coaching Remarkable. And that is a plethora of coaching improvements that we want to make. So not only make it super easy for you to use, but also learn how our customers are using it and quickly adapt to those needs. So if you have specific feedback, I would love to get it. I'd love to get it as soon as possible.
Awesome. Oh, I like this one. Will additional competition ideas ever be supported, like March Madness, bracket style competitions? I know people are interested in like elimination style, head to head, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I really appreciate as a product leader the ever qualifier. Yes, but then it's a matter of timing. So I do not foresee those happening within the next quarter, but they are in my mind of something I know customers want and that we need to deliver. And so as Ambition is growing, you will see us doing more hiring. We'll bring more engineers onto the team, and we'll see an acceleration of some of these capabilities we know you want.
Awesome. One just came in through the chats, kind of related. Any changes coming to TV slide formats? I'd especially like for there to be a slide to highlight a competition winner at the end of a challenge. Love that question.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, as I think about that, I have not received that specific feedback. I'd love for that to get that in some kind of email. I never see something like that being like a roadmap item, like a big rock that we're going to come out and announce, but that could be an enhancement that we could make. And I would need to just go see how hard it would be. So let me explore that one a little bit and come back to you. Like that doesn't seem unreasonable at all. Seems very reasonable. And so I'd like to go play with that. We don't have any major enhancements for TVs in the next quarter, but this I would qualify this as an improvement, which we can like definitely go look at and see if we can do.
Awesome. What is the timeline on the Zoom integration and what could we expect from that?
Yeah, man. Well, so timeline's going to be difficult because I'm rethinking it. So there is a Zoom integration, has been a Zoom integration in flight. I happen to have a lot of experience with integrating Zoom as my last company, we had an entire conversation intelligence product that would work hand in hand with Zoom and do all kind of neat and nifty things. So I am working right now to talk to my friends at Zoom and kind of brainstorm the art of the possible. I do feel strongly that Zoom will be essential to our coaching framework, as it makes a lot of sense that if we're going to automate and codify the kind of best practices of check-ins, making sure they're consistent, we're holding managers accountable, et cetera, we inevitably need a way to launch the meeting, capture the conversation in the meeting, study the meeting, things like that. So I don't have a timeline, but that's really, I'm the blocker because I really want to get my head around what I think it needs to be for us.
Awesome. I've got two more questions on here. So if anyone in this session has their own questions or anything that's on your mind that you want to share at Butler, now's the time. Drop it in the chat, drop it in the Q&A. But my last two questions that I've got that were sent in. Will we be adding a PTO calendar for scorecards?
Yes. We will be. I do know that for a fact. Ambition is a platform with a lot of parts. And so when we go make a fundamental change like that, we want to make sure that we don't inadvertently break anything. And so our CTO and I, the last time I was in Chattanooga, I'm in Atlanta today, Chattanooga every other week for now. We had a long conversation about PTO calendar. So it is on his radar. We have spent a lot of time meeting just to talk about all the edges of if we did this, what would happen here, what would happen there, what would happen there. But I can say emphatically, yes, that this will happen most likely this year.
Awesome. And last one from our questions sent in. Will Ambition support custom fiscal calendars in app?
We will. I do not have a timeline. I have chosen to prioritize PTO calendar versus custom calendars first. But again, in this conversation, the CTO and I met to talk about big architectural things that we needed to change. Both of these came up. And so we are committed to doing them. It's just I don't have a timeline on the second one. And again, just so you know the why, I always want to give you the why. We're talking about fundamental aspects of the platform. And so we have to go understand when we make this change, all the different places it touches and all the automated things that are happening. And we have to account for those and make sure we don't make any mistakes. We will tackle PTO calendar first, but this custom calendar view is definitely something we'll do and on my radar.
Awesome. Just had one come in on the Q&A. Zoom is great, but how about integrating with other platforms like Blue Jeans?
Yeah, great question. Again, I think this speaks to the ecosystem, speaks to the open platform that I talked about. At SalesLoft, we integrated with Zoom and Blue Jeans and others. And it really will be a matter of the kind of partnership Blue Jeans wants to have with us as well. And so I think that came in anonymous. I'd love to have a conversation about it. But the idea overall, almost everything that we'll build, that I think about building, is we want to build it in an extensible way. So when we build rewards, for instance, like build for Sendoso, but there are other rewards vendors in the space. And so we will build it in a way that accommodates someone else wanting to come in and say, we want to take advantage and serve your customers alongside you. I do think Zoom would be the first video conferencing that we put into the system, but I could very easily see us accommodating other ones like Blue Jeans. And I know Blue Jeans pretty well.
Awesome. That wraps up the questions that we had for now. If anyone's interested, I was thinking we've got about 10 minutes left in our schedule time. We had a couple great product releases come out pretty recently. So I'd love to use this remaining time, and unless anyone else has additional questions, to hop into the product really quick and just run through some of our releases, if that sounds like a good plan to everyone. So I'll go ahead and share my screen just as a reminder. If you're ever seeing something new in Ambition that you feel like is you haven't seen it there before, a great place to go is help.ambition.com. Here, I'll navigate back so you can see the click path. Help.ambition.com, down to announcements, and we're always going to have our release notes here. This is your great first stop. You'll always be seeing like marketing and in-app communication, and from your CSM on any product updates and improvements. This is a great place to go as well. So I wanted to highlight a couple releases that have come out recently, especially for you coaching folks who are into that part of the platform. So the first piece that I really want to highlight is the ability to assign due dates to your coaching one-on-ones. So now in that second step where you establish the recurrence of your coaching program, it's going to have this option to schedule when the check-in should be due. This is an amazing improvement. I know a lot of my customers have been asking for this, so we're really excited to be able to deliver on this. If you can make this adjustment to new coaching programs that you build, or if you have coaching programs that are live, you can make this adjustment and it'll go into place moving forward. So if you've got questions on that, feel free to reach out to support or your CSM. But this is going to be a great way to push adherence to your coaching program and just further engagement. Your reps will get those email reminders. Hey, you've got a coaching check-in due, and it'll be based off of this due date that you've assigned. So hopefully it will just improve that engagement and adherence to the coaching system even more. The second update that I want to point out is exporting the Q&A from a coaching program. So a lot of you know you can export reports and some data surrounding coaching so that you guys can use it to analyze how successful coaching has been and kind of what you want to do with your coaching systems moving forward. But a great update we've added to these exports are the actual Q&As. So as you can see, each coaching session is identified by their timestamp here. And then you've got that user, and then every question has its own column here, and you'll be able to see everyone's responses. So this will be a great place for you if you're in sales ops and you want to get a full-blown picture of people's engagement. I know that people are interested in, am I getting full conversations in coaching, or am I getting just yes and no answers? This will be a really easy way for you guys to download it all in one place and look at it as an overview. And to get to that, I'll walk through. If you are in Ambition, you'll just go to the coaching tab on the left-hand side, down to manage, and into programs. And then whatever program you want, you'll just click the little 3 dots and export CSV, and that'll get you all the information that you need. Awesome. That's really all I wanted to highlight as far as new product updates, but it's pretty fun stuff. Yeah. Okay, Butler, looks like you answered. We had a question in the chat. Yeah, I love that question, Michael.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in that first experience. And I know some of you are veteran users here, but that we should never start from a blank slate. And so the templates in different areas of the app will be huge. If you think about coaching, there's no shortage of like best practices of one-on-one agendas. There's no reason we wouldn't have at least a starter pack for things like that. But then I can see a series of best practices on triggers, or popular triggers, or here's a starter trigger, clone it to create it in our future. I do want to say one thing to the group, if you don't mind, Emma. It's like, I'm new, I'm excited. I see lots of ways to improve the app, and I want to hear from you. And so if you don't mind, I mean, everyone has busy days, but if you could shoot an email to me or Emma and just be like, the 3 things I wish you would just change tomorrow. I can't promise them, I'm not promising them, but it gives me a feel for how you, the customer, you, the user, experience ambition. And then I can begin to, it will play into my calculus of what we tackle and how we tackle it.
Just dropped both of our emails in the chat. So yeah, feel free to reach out, share your feedback with us. You guys know better than anyone on how Ambition can be an amazing user experience, and we really value your input. So we'd love to hear from everyone. Anyone else have any questions? Anything you want to share? Butler, any final words before we wrap up today?
My final words really is I love working closely with customers. And I often say I've never had really a great idea on my own. It's like they all are born out of conversations with customers. So please don't be shy about feedback. Please don't be shy about building a relationship with me and the product team. I welcome it, encourage it. I would love the opportunity to speak with each of you if you were open to having a meeting, 30-minute meeting with me, whatever works for you. But thank you for being Ambition customers, and thanks for attending today.
Awesome. Thank you, Butler, for joining and doing this awesome presentation. Thank you, everyone who attended. You will receive a recap email recording of this call. And feel free to reach out to your CSM, to Butler, to our support team if you guys have any questions, feedback, or need anything at all. I hope everyone has a great rest of your week, and be sure to register for our next office hours in April. Bye, everyone. Have a good one.